I've got some important updates if you're planning to visit Washington, D.C. this winter. Hello, my name is Rob. I'm a tour guide and the founder of Trip Hacks DC Tours. On this channel, I share my best tips, tricks, and hacks for exploring Washington, D.C. And over at triphacksdc.com, you'll find info about tours and more. Travel and tourism is coming back, but there are still some important things you should know before you leave for your trip. In this video, I'm going to run through some of the general travel updates. Then I've got a big update on the status of our annual holiday traditions. And finally, I'll give my thoughts about whether I think this winter is a good time for a visit to DC. And I know that many of you have been here this fall because October was the busiest month of the year for Trip Hacks DC Tours. And I want to know how it went. So if you could do me a favor and leave a comment down there with a short trip report. Or if you're planning to visit for the holidays, let me know which of these festivities you're most looking forward to doing. With that said, let's get started. First, let's run through some general travel updates. And I'm gonna try to go through this quick because actually not a lot has changed since my last update video in September. Most Washington, D.C. sites are at least partially reopened. That includes the National Gallery of Art, private museums, and the Smithsonian. However, even though Smithsonian has opened all of their museums, most of them are still only open 5 days per week, not 7. Tickets are also required for 2 Smithsonian sites, the African American History and Culture Museum and the National Zoo. So make sure to double check the website si.edu/visit to find out which museums are open on which days and to get tickets to the 2 sites where you need them. Other federal sites that have reopened include the Library of Congress, the Rotunda at the National Archives, and the White House Visitor Center. The top of the Washington Monument is also reopened, but it does require timed tickets. So check out the video description for my video with instructions about how to get those tickets. And unfortunately, some federal sites are still closed, including the Capitol Visitor Center, the Conservatory at the U.S. Botanic Gardens, and inside the White House tours. As far as Trip Hacks DC tours go, I run private tours year-round. You can head on over to triphacksdc.com, and at the bottom of the private tour page is a calendar with my full availability. The Monumental Trivia Tour has gone into hibernation for the winter. I do plan to bring it back next spring, assuming that demand is there. Now remember, when you visit, you'll still need to bring your masks along with you. Masks are still required indoors, and that includes at hotels, museums, and stores, and transportation like metro, buses, and Uber. They are not required outdoors. Proof of vaccination is not required to visit the city, but individual businesses are allowed to require it if they choose. And as of right now, the types of businesses that are requiring proof of vaccination are primarily bars, restaurants, theaters, and concert venues. So if you're planning on visiting any of those, bring your proof of vaccination with you in case you need it. Okay, now let's talk holiday updates. First, I know many people are planning to visit the week of Thanksgiving, either as a family get-together or as a vacation. Thanksgiving week is a great one to visit because it typically has the lowest hotel rates of the entire year. Most of the museums are open on Thanksgiving. However, remember that not every Smithsonian museum is open every day. So if Thursday happens to be one of the days when it's not open, then it won't be open this year on Thanksgiving. If you want to go out to eat, there are usually plenty of restaurant choices. But it's really important that you go on either OpenTable or Resy to see which restaurants are open on Thanksgiving Day, and then make yourself a reservation. You do not want to be looking for dinner on Thanksgiving without a reservation. The next big holiday after that is Hanukkah. The national menorah will be displayed on the ellipse again this year. The lighting ceremony will be on November 28th, and it will be lit for the entirety of Hanukkah. Then we come to Christmas. The big important news is that even after some uncertainty, it looks like both the National Christmas Tree and the Capitol Christmas Tree will be on display this year. Remember that the National Christmas Tree is located on the Ellipse, just to the south of the White House. And the Capitol Christmas Tree is located on the west lawn of the US Capitol. These will both be lit from December 2nd through December 31st. Another tradition that's back is the Downtown Holiday Market. It's an outdoor market where you can shop for locally made holiday gifts. It's located on 2 blocks of F Street Northwest between 7th Street and 9th Street. And it will run from November 19th through December 23rd, closed on Thanksgiving Day and December 6th. Another event returning after a year off is Enchant Christmas at Nationals Park. This is an event run by a big company that puts on a few of these in different cities. In DC, it runs on weekends between November 26th and January 2nd. It's basically a giant winter wonderland with ice skating, hot chocolate, and holiday shopping. To me, the cool thing isn't the Christmas stuff per se, it's the fact that you get to go onto the playing field at Nationals Park. Now, tickets are kind of pricey, so I'm not necessarily endorsing this. But if you do look at their website and think it looks fun, it is something to do. Nearby at the Yards Park is Light Yards. Not something I would necessarily go out of my way to see, but if you're in the area for Enchant Christmas, or dinner nearby, you can come check it out. It's a larger-than-life light installation that will run from December 1st through January 1st. For the adults, the Miracle Pop-Up Bar is back in 2021. Miracle runs pop-up bars all across the country, basically turning a regular bar into an over-the-top themed Christmas bar. Ours is at Death Punch Bar in Adams Morgan. A similar but outdoor version of this is Winterfest at the Wonder Garden. This one runs from December 4th through the 20th. And if you go on their website, you can see the special holiday events they're putting on, like ugly sweater contests and Christmas trivia. If you're into theater, the Washington National Ballet is performing Nutcracker at the Warner Theater. Showtimes are on the weekend between November 27th and December 26th. Christmas at Mount Vernon is happening again this year. This is one of the few things that's open every single day, including on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Remember that Mount Vernon is a private site and not free, so make sure to get those tickets in advance, especially if you want to go for the candlelight tours or Christmas illuminations. This next one's not something holiday specific per se, but that people like to do around the holidays, and that's ice skating. The ice rink at the Sculpture Garden opens on November 19th, the Wharf on November 24th, and Georgetown November 12th. Ice rinks are always weather permitting, meaning that if we get an unseasonably warm day, ice skating might not be possible. And just a quick note that most of the things I put into this video, I picked because they're happening for the entire holiday season. So no matter what your specific trip dates are, hopefully you can still check them out. Okay, now unfortunately I have to tell you about a few Christmas traditions that are not happening this year. The National Zoo announced that zoo lights are canceled. Season's Greetings at the US Botanic Gardens is also significantly scaled back this year. There will be some outdoor holiday decorations and some things put up across the street at Bartholdi Park, but the indoor exhibits, including the Christmas music, are canceled. Also to note that Georgetown Glow, which typically happens around Christmas, was pushed back this year, and it actually just wrapped up in September. So Georgetown will not be glowing for the holidays. And now for a few of my final thoughts. Do I think this winter is a good time to visit Washington, DC? Yes, I do, especially if it's going to be in December when all of the holiday festivities are happening. Things are not back to 100% though, and it's starting to get frustrating. A big frustration for me right now, honestly, is Smithsonian. Since they started reopening this year, they've kept their museums to only 5 days per week, which means it's extra work for you to make sure to build a schedule that includes the museums you want to see on the days that they're open. And similarly, canceling zoo lights is a huge blow. It was one of my personal favorite Christmas things to do, and very popular with kids and families. Similarly, it's very frustrating that we're about to hit 2 years of the Capitol Visitor Center being closed. And I totally get why they had to close it in 2020. and why they had to keep it closed last winter. But there has been no communication about any kind of plan for reopening. Okay, so my personal frustrations aside, the good news is that there is still plenty to do if you visit this winter, and you can definitely make a great trip out of it. And because I'm curious, if you're planning on coming for the holidays, leave me a comment down there and let me know what you're most looking forward to doing. And hopefully, if you made it this far, you're looking forward to another Trip Hacks DC video. So go ahead and click or tap right over here to watch the next one. And if you are planning that trip and interested in a Trip Hacks DC guided tour, you can click or tap on the Capitol Dome on the left side of my head. That'll send you right over to triphacksdc.com, where you can see all of the tours that we offer. Enjoy your trip.